Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. Starting off locally here in Trinidad and Tobago, a Facebook page named UNC for the People. I follow it, of course, because I support the UNC government. Asked this question last night. How would you rate the UNC performance as we come to the end of 2025? And they went on to say, comment below and let us know. So I went on and commented on their page and I said, I rate it at a 7 for now, people. Hopefully it will come closer to 10 before 2030. I think that's a fair rating, an honest and fair rating. I agree with the Prime Minister's support of America's war against drug traffickers. I also support most of their policies, except though for the increasing of the retirement age. I will also add in the increasing of the NIS deductions, except for the increasing of the retirement age, the continued SOE. I've never supported it in the first place. I don't think that is a logical way to fight crime. And the increase in alcohol prices. There's need for far more laborers in the Ministry of Works to perform the duties of former CPEP and URP workers. It cannot just depend on 1,100 people to be able to fulfill those duties. That is why so many places in Trinidad and Tobago is still being neglected at this point in time, including my area, still full of bush. You could swear the PNM is still in office. Pay public servants their back pay in cash. Don't come and suggest anything like bonds or paying off any sort of paying off of their loans and stuff like that. People want their cash money. They have suffered, as I said before yesterday, they suffered for 10 years under Rowley. Don't come and deprive them of a little extra cash that they could use to invest. Give people the choice. They have the freedom of whether they want to pay off loans with it or to invest into something, buy something for their home, upgrade their homes or whatsoever. That is their personal choice. Come on. You need to do better than that. So pay public servants their back pay in cash. We can't afford, people. We cannot afford to give PNM any chance of winning the general election in 2030, because if they think things are going bad right now to an extent, it's going to be extremely worse if PNM returns to power. Rest assured, if PNM won the elections in April, Trinidad most likely would have already been under the control of the IMF. PNM knew that they left a bankrupt nation, So it's not like I'm trying to judge the UNC government for making certain types of decisions. But nevertheless, you did promise that you were not going to put the burden on the citizens, and that's exactly what you're doing at this point in time. And therefore, you need to wake up, because you cannot make certain promises and then go back on it. It's better you told the population that you were going to have to end up implementing some very serious measures in order to recover the economy. You said you would have found other ways. So find them. Please, our Prime Minister, we the people's Prime Minister, Kamala Prasad Isesa. No more overheating phones. Cool your phones in seconds. Prevents damage to phones and battery issues. Better gaming experience and streaming. USB powered and fast charging. Lightweight and quiet. Ideal for kids and adults. Works with all smartphones. Makes a great gift. Call or WhatsApp 868-762-6589. A man who won $30,000 in a wappy game is now sadly in critical condition after being ambushed and shot by 3 men who robbed him. My response, and I'm sure a lot of people will agree with me on this, that sounds like a setup. Setup, people. That is not making any sense whatsoever. In the first place, as somebody else commented online, why would you walk home with that large amount of cash? I would have called a relative, a few people, because I mean, sometimes robbers might just see somebody and decide to attack some random person, but I don't think so in this case. I want to say investigators should consider all participants in that game of wappy as potential suspects at this point in time. Premium touchscreen wireless headsets restocked. 1.9-inch HD full-color touchscreen. ANC and ENC noise reduction for crystal clear calls. 90 panoramic sound. Long battery life and fast charging. Control music, videos, TikTok, YouTube, and much more. Camera feature, voice assistant, timer, stopwatch, and lyrics on screen. Water resistant, sleek design. Available in gold, black, blue, and purple. Gift-ready packaging with replacement earbuds included. Never lose your earbuds again with the Find Headphones feature that actually works. Don't miss out. WhatsApp 762-6589 to place your order. Limited stock available. 10 newly repaired police vehicles are now back on the nation's roads following an official handover by Prime Minister Kamla Persad Bissessa. My response, tell your officers, not really the Prime Minister I'm speaking to her, but the Commissioner of Police, Guevara. Tell your officers to stop driving recklessly on our nation's roadways. That will ensure that many of these vehicles won't be in need of significant repair again within a short space of time. Tired of losing your keys, phone, or coins in that annoying gap between your car seat and the console? We've got the perfect solution. Our universal car seat gap fillers are back in stock, ready to save your stuff and make your ride clutter-free. Available in black, brown, beige, and red, they're designed to fit any car seat and blend perfectly with your interior. Simply WhatsApp 762-6589 to place your order and enjoy delivery straight to your door in just 1 to 3 days. Drunk driving is now $24,000 in a fine for a first offense. Careless driving, such as driving on the shoulder, is $2,000. The majority of TTPS falls into these two categories. That was stated by a page on Facebook called Road Watch. They went on to ask this question: who is going to charge them? Who is doing anything about their lawlessness? My response, of course, to that page, sadly, this is really sad, and of course, a lot of the UNC supporters who view my videos are not going to agree with a lot of what is being said today. But nevertheless, I'm not a party supporter. I support the UNC usually because of good performance and so forth. But when I see things that I don't agree with, I will mention them, and I will continue to do so. So I said, sadly, the UNC doesn't care about TTPS officers' lawlessness, which is one of the party's significant flaws from always, and they continue to do so in spite of people like myself pleading with them to change their perspective. They are no different to the mighty Morphing Ghanayam when it pertains to this very serious issue. Nevertheless, people, listen carefully. Nevertheless, I still support the UNC in general, since they are a much better option than the destructive PNM. The Prime Minister needs to relieve Roger Alexander of his position as Minister of Homeland Security for various reasons. Please bear in mind that I fully support the new fines which are being imposed, because they are being imposed on certain types of issues, certain types of lawless actions that result in very serious accidents, many times fatal accidents, speeding and driving recklessly. Those types of actions result in fatalities, and I believe it should end up having, in that particular law, when it's repeated for a couple of times, imprisonment as well. But let me read over that part. Please bear in mind that I fully support the new fines which are being imposed, but police officers should also be held accountable for violating those laws. You won't be disappointed with this one. Look and feel great every day. Painless trimming with no pulling of hair guaranteed. Comfortable to hold and lightweight. Intelligent anti-pinch system. Safety travel lock. Accurate and painless trimming. Durability, 100% quality. Fast charging. To place an order, call or WhatsApp 868-762-6589. News from Guyana now. Following several hours of heavy rainfall in Georgetown on Friday, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa has assured the public that everything possible is being done to prepare for the rainy season and limit instances of flooding. So Guyana's rainy season, of course, is different to ours. Although it seems as though it's starting around a few months, a lot more months later than us. We are heading out of the rainy season. Anyhow, when contacted, he told this publication, which is the Guyana Chronicle, that work is being done behind the scenes and that in the new week, his ministry will update the media on the plans for this period. I hope that he holds to that promise. But usually, the Irfan Ali administration serves the people of Guyana quite well. I will rate the Irfan Ali administration at probably about an 8.5 to a 9. The Chinese community in Montego Bay, St. James, has joined forces with the Trinidad and Tobago Chinese Chamber of Commerce to deliver humanitarian aid to residents still reeling from the devastation caused by Hurricane Melissa in Jamaica. The relief effort mobilized within days of an urgent appeal from Western-based Chinese organizations has resulted in the acquisition of mattresses, bottled water, sanitizing supplies, tarpaulins, and food items for some of the most vulnerable families across St. James. I will continue to say it's definitely areas, the rural districts in Jamaica that even the government and even those here in Trinidad and Tobago should focus on servicing at this point in time, on assisting at this point in time. Thanks to the Chinese organization, I just don't agree with the Communist Party in China, but I love China, and of course I love the Chinese people. I have their DNA in my blood. International news now. The January 6th pipe bomber terrorist is an Afro young guy. He's also a radical anti-Trump activist, sued Trump and ICE and DHS. He works at his family bail bonds company that frees criminal aliens from ICE custody. This, of course, explains why the Democrat FBI and DOJ could not supposedly find this guy for 4 years. The FBI became a political organization instead of an investigative organization, a crime-fighting organization. It was really sad to see such an elite agency become so corrupt because of the Democrat Socialist Party, and especially under the Biden administration. The Biden FBI had mountains of evidence against Brian Cole. Receipts, cell data, license plate number, photos and videos of the crime as well, people. Even videos. They knew exactly who did it. But you see, Brian's profile destroyed their entire MAGA, white supremacist insurrection bomber narrative in one blow. That's why, of course, they kept it secret. The FBI didn't fail to catch him. Leftists, Democrats, the Biden administration, Nancy Pelosi, they kept this secret for 4 years. And they allowed the media to push false narratives even about an insurrection by the MAGA supporters. MAGA people are Republicans, and Republicans exercise their right to bear arms, people. If they intended to overthrow the government of America, they would have never went to that rally. It was a peaceful rally. They would have never attended that peaceful rally with banners and singing hymns and holding Bibles, people. They would have went with their firearms. Do not be fooled by mainstream media, even here in Trinidad and Tobago. The MAGA supporters, the Trump supporters did not attempt an insurrection on that day. Did a few foolish ones follow Antifa and BLM criminals into the Capitol on that day? Yes, but they were also misled. You know why? Because the Capitol Police removed barriers and allowed people to go further, closer to the Capitol building. And then worse yet, afterwards, after the Antifa thugs began breaking windows, and the crowd outside was actually calling on the Capitol Police to intervene and was saying, Antifa, Antifa, Antifa. But you see, Trinidadians don't actually watch videos, so they wouldn't know the truth. I did, right? After all that, what they ended up doing was opening the doors to allow people to enter the Capitol. So, of course, a couple hundred naive Republicans entered the building along with the BLM and Antifa thugs and were arrested. Most of them did not even commit any sort of violent acts in the Capitol building. They were just arrested because they were inside there. It was a trap. It was a trap set by Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats and the rhino Republicans, not the normal Republicans, but the rhinos who actually support the Democrats, who pretend to be Republicans. They were set up by those individuals, people. Closing off now with the interesting facts segment. Gu Yongpeng, or maybe Jew, I'm not sure, it's Chinese, is a 42-year-old inventor from China who likes building machines in his spare time. He wanted to test whether a bed could function as a moving vehicle. We will say, what? But it sounds like an interesting idea though. He built a metal base and placed a full bed on top of it. He added tracks, wheels, so it could travel over stairs and rough ground. He set up a control stick that allowed him to steer while lying down. He first tested it on a slope near his workshop to check balance. He then drove it down a long staircase to see how the tracks handled each step. He took it onto muddy ground next to a field to test the grip. The bed crossed the soft surface and moved through a shallow puddle without getting stuck. His project turned into a working bed car that moves across different terrain while he remains lying comfortably on it. Of course, for individuals who cannot walk, this could be probably something that is quite promising. Maybe not to be using out in the public, but maybe in their yard and definitely throughout their homes. Folks, that brings us to the end of today's news report. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And most of all, in Jesus' name.